Okay, we're starting. We're continuing. Ter Zayin, Chelik, Likutey Moharan II. We're holding. This is the middle of Siman Yud. Actually, let's see how far it is from. Yes, the middle, the middle of Siman Yud. So first of all, this shir, B'ezrat Hashem, is refuah of Klal Yisrael and everybody that needs it. Is lichvod the bris of my grandson, which is going to be on Sunday, Mitzvah Hashem. Alias Neshama for Yael Bas Aryeh. This is your Rebbetzon's mother. Okay, and your wife is the one that made this incredible food. Okay, kol habrachos, kol habrachos. So the mother of the child is 55. My son is 47, and it's their first child. So it's Baruch Hashem. So Refuah Brius Chana Dina Bas Chana Bna Arach Hanoilod Shanal Mazel Tov B'ezrat Hashem. We're going to Hashem to Abrisa Shalom Avinu B'ezrat Hashem. It's a bit of Zman, but his manner is, and his parents B'ezrat Hashem will be zecher to be Gadol Toiro Lechupa Masim Tovim. Okay. Oh man, Shkoyach. Hello, Reke Barech. So we touched this particular inyan of when Rabbeinu says that when you eat, right now we're eating after a fast of Shavas Tammuz. He says Dafka during the fast, during the eating, comes the Yira. So as we delved into this, how does it work? How come Dafka in the time of eating, this is when a person is filled with incredible, a person can feel, if he's zocher, with incredible retzoinus and she'ifas to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we explained that the malchus itself comes from the place of, the parnasa comes from place of memshala, of malchus. Anybody that wants to give parnasa has to have a medicum of authority. Has to have a malchus. So each one, according to how many people he has to give parnasa to, this is the kind of malchus that he gets. The malchus is that, and the process is, okay, so where does the malchus get it from? The malchus itself is that's the mechanism that distributes the parnasa, but where does it get it from? So we started it that the parnasa actually comes from the yadayim, the hands, which exist in the Yam HaChochma, the sea of Chochma. And we explain this particular inyan. What is the sea of Chochma? What is the yadayim, Sham HaChochma? And what does it have to do with bringing parnasa? We explained the last time that, we have the pnimi, the or pnimi, then you have the makifin. The pnimi is that which you know. The makifin is that which you know about. You don't know it yet, but you know about it. That's the makif. And we said that when you let out your pnimi, you allow somebody else to know about it, and you tell him, divrei dvorei Moshe, or divrei das and Yoshemayim, your makifim come in. The makifim come from the oilum hakeser. Kesser is beyond this particular mitzvah. To explain it a long time ago, when you're counting the spheres, sometimes you count it like Kesser Chochma Bina, and then you go into the good old Chesed, V'Tiferet, and so forth. And sometimes you go Chochma Bina Das, and then you go to Chesed, V'Tiferet. Why sometimes this and sometimes that? The union of Kesser is the principle of promise. I'll explain it. Then whatever is happening in the spheres themselves is Chochma and Bina, and then there's Das and the rest of them. Kesser is, let's say, takes this shear, for instance, okay? So the fact that Rabbi Statman sent out email saying it's going to be a shear tonight, that's the Kesser of this shear. It's a promise that's going to be a shear. Okay? Now, the thing is that in the email itself, if you wanted to read it and hear whatever you're going to learn today, you won't be able to do it. But the truth is that everything that we're going to learn today is already included, Stilleheit, hidden, undifferentiated, already in the promise. So whatever we're going to speak here today and everything, every single word is already included in the promise of the email. That's the Kesser. Then you have the Kesser, and the Kesser says, there will be Chochmah, there'll be Bina, and then we'll go through Chesed, V'Tiferet, and so forth and so on. Once we're already here, and Baruch Hashem, we have just fantastic food that Mr. Statman prepared, to break the fast. This is already within the universe of this shir. So now we have Chochmah, now we have Das. So the Chochmah is the data, and the Bina is the comprehension when you are able to analyze the data, so on and so on. And the Das is, okay, now it's time to what you call, applied logic, okay? The applied Chochmah Bina. That's what the Das is. It's when the Chochmah and the Bina come together, they produce a Das. So, and we said, let's say in music, so you have the scale is the Chochmah, and the musical theory is the Bina, and the Das will be the song. Okay? All of them come together. Now, the Das itself, being that it's a combination of the Chochmah and the Bina, it sends out the directives of the Das. The Das means what's the idea? The promise was there's going to be a shir, you're going to learn Likutey Moharan, you're going to learn Yoshemayim and Sashem, learn Chochmah. Okay? That was the promise in the shir. In the Chochmah and the Bina itself, Akko says what the data is. How do we understand that? Nothing was the Das. Now the Das has to be applied. There is one hand is Yad Yamin, this is Chesed. The fact that we want to learn, you come and I come and we teach. And then there's Gvura, which, how much I teach, how much I hold back is not to overwhelm, in order to tell you things which are not true. And the combination of the Das and the Chesed and the Gvura is called Tiferet. This is already Tiferet Rachamim, as Rabbeinu says over here. That means Chesed means giving, just without any regard. You need it, you don't need it. It's good for you, not good for you. I want to give. Gvura is I want to hold back no matter what. It's good for you, not good for you. I want to hold back. Tiferet is a combination of the both, and it is how much to give and how much to hold back, according to the ability of the receiver to receive. Now, if it's a baby, it needs milk. You can't feed it. Oh, you want it to go, to be a basketball player, whatever it is. Give it meat, give it potatoes. It's a baby. What do you have to give it milk? So you have to. Rachami means that you give what is good for the receiver, not because you are a kind guy. No, because don't hold back because you're cruel. You give and you hold back because you want what's best for the receiver. Now, these are all mechanisms in order to finally bring the entire Shefa to the Malchus. Malchus is an explanation that comes out while we're learning it. Okay? Now, the same thing is the Shefa of the Parnasa. The parnasa comes from the shefa makifin, from the oil makesa. He says the or pnei Hashem. The or pnei Hashem is where reality comes from, and parnasa comes from. And what does it give down? It gives down rotzai. We say when makifin come in, is we call b'shem Moshe a euphemism of ka'et yamer Yaakov ma pa'okel. You're giving them their food, their parnasa be'itoy, during the time when the makifin come in. That's where the parnasa comes in. So Rabbeinu said, what we explain is that in the chokhmah is the sphere of chokhmah. That's the yama chokhmah. But yama chokhmah needs to have a mechanism to receive from sphere sakesa, and it needs to have the apparatus in which to give the chokhmah, to disseminate the chokhmah in a way that it'll go trickle down and actually concretize kadei parnasa. Okay. Now it says the chokhmah, the dibur of the chokhmah, in the yama chokhmah, the chokhmah of the chokhmah, these are the yadayim. The yadayim are the remazim. These are the hints. We learned before that the chokhmah does not say everything. And the reason he does not say everything is because he cannot have an influx of makifin that he won't be able to deal with. You have to be very careful, very choosy, which makifin to bring in and which not. We said, when do you bring the makifin in? When you give it out, you give out the pnimi. When the chokhmah is megal the chokhmah, makifin come in. So the chokhmah has to be very choosy, very specific in what to reveal, what not to reveal. But the chokhmah wants to reveal everything because he has rachmanis from all the people. The more chokhmah you will give, the more das they will have, the more they get close to Kadosh Baruch Hu. But he's allowed to. So what does he do? He uses his hands, as it were. The hands are the hints. The hints give you a saga of what the speech cannot actually convey. For instance, we're saying, oh, this is a big book. Okay, so now you know it's a big book, right? This is the big book. My hands convey a totally different picture. The words are the same, big, big. But the hands give you additional information you didn't have, that the speech cannot convey. Wasn't mean big, 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 big. B'derech mashal, when the Chacham says things to his Talmidim, the Pchinas Yadayim, he is merames, he hints, he alludes to things that he is not allowed to say. He can't say. If the Talmidim have faith in him, if the Talmidim believe that everything that the Chacham says, not just the Diburim that he says, but there is oimik, there's depth beyond depth, there's Ruach HaKodesh, there's Asidus, there's futures, there's Atsidus, there's everything that the person needs until after Pirsam Mesam and afterwards. He listens differently. He is capturing, he's understanding different kind of Ramazim. So the Yadayim Sheyam HaChochma, on one hand, there the apparatus, the Ramazim is the Kesser. We said, what is the Makifin? Makifin is something you know about. You don't know it well, but you know it's there. Hint means I'm telling you, listen, I'm hinting to you there is something that you don't know yet, but you know it's there. You don't know what it is, but you know it's there. It's up to you to choose what you want or after it, and you want to find it. You want to find out. The mechanism of bringing the Shefa Keser, the Shefa or upon him, into the Yam Chochma is through the Yadayim. Now, when we're discussing the spheres from the outside, the sheer, the email, right? That's Prince email. The Yadayim serve as a conduit from the Keser into Chochma Bina. But within the sheer itself, now the Keser is, what is the idea, what is the reason why you are having this sheer? That's the main reason. I promise you, if you count the shir, you'll hear the words of Rabbeinu. You have more das. You have to serve Kodesh Baruch Hu better. It's the initial promise. You still didn't learn the Torah, but the same promise exists in the sphere of das. The difference is that in the level of Keser, you still don't know what's going to be said. The sphere of das, you already know. You're Chochmah Bina already there. So you know, at least, once it's said, you know what the das was. This corresponds to the two bechinas of HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows everything that we will do, and we have totally free choice to do whatever it is we want. Those dualities, that kind of of paradox, is the chiluk between Keser and Das. Now, one and the same. We're going to do whatever it is we're going to do. Because Baruch Hu knows exactly what we're going to do, and we have totally free choice to do what we want. One of them is the Keser, one of them is the Das. Now, the Das itself has to have, besides it's just, it's a result of Chochmah and Bina. Nevertheless, now it needs to give it over. It has, the Kalim, the right hand and the left hand, the Chesed and the Gebura. These are the Yadayim within the Shir itself. The Yadayim Shebeyam HaChochmah are the Chesed and the Gebura. They are the tools with which, through the Chesed, the Toichen, the Shefa, the plenty, the Parnasa, the Or comes through the Das, the Chochmah Bina, then through all the spheres, and then it gets to the Malchus. The initial Or, the initial light in the Keser is Or Pnei Hashem. Or Pnei Hashem is a Ratzon, is a will. Kodesh Baruch Hu wants the world to exist. Kodesh Baruch Hu wants to give good to all creations. Kodesh Baruch Hu wants us to want Him. You cannot get the remazim of the Chacham unless you want to. You cannot get close to Kodesh Baruch Hu unless you want to. Similarly, you cannot even make Parnasa unless you want to. As I say, everybody's eyes is turned to you with bitachon. And you are giving them their sustenance, the itoi. This is that time when the makifim come in. The next book, pasuk immediately. You open up your hands, and you satisfy to everybody whatever it is they need. You see, you're talking about parnasa, right? You're talking about the raw material of parnasa is rotzen. Rotzen can turn into anything. The person that wants parnasa will have parnasa. The person who wants money will have money. The person that wants laziness will have laziness. The person that wants taivas chas v'chalei will have taivas. The rotzen is the precursor to everything. And this is an eating, it's not to get into the 3 weeks that we are in the midst thereof. So, as the Rebbe says, is that the Chacham sometimes says as a Dibur, that he gives various hints to the Talmidim. In fact, the things that you cannot actually enunciate and express with his mouth, he's not allowed to. Only according to the hints that are in his words, they understands what he means. And these hints, they are constant a reality of Yadayim. I've leaned my hands. These are the hands that exist within the sphere of wisdom. Because the Chachma that, we said before, that the Chacham reveals is the Yam HaChacham. This is a big sea, a big and wide sea. Now, in Lashon Kodesh, it doesn't say Rachav, it says Rachav Yadayim. It means wide, but the words is of I can't even explain it in English. The Chav Yadayim, like handful. It uses dafka the expression of hands. The Chav is Yadayim Yam Chochma. U'me'ela Yadayim, and from those hands, from these hands, Kabel B'chinas HaMalchus et HaParnasa. This is the Parnasa receives all the way from the Kesser, Chochma Bina, all the way to the Malchus. The Malchus is the silo, everything is being distributed from there. B'chinas Poseches Yadecha, you open up your hands, and therefore you satiate to everybody Rotzin. That's because of a Parnasa for everything else. The Parnasa comes through from that aspect of Yadayim, from that the union of Yadayim. You're satiating, you're supplying, to every Chai Rotzin. That's the illumination of the primordial Rotzin, the Rotzin HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is revealed within the Parnasa. And you are giving them their ochlam, their Parnasa, be'itoy, in the Zman. So the itoy, that's the remez of when the makifim come in. Be'itoy, ka'et yamel Yaakov, mapa al-kel, this is in the future, when the makifim will come in, the malach will have to ask Am Yisrael, what did the Kodesh Baruch Hu say? What did the Kodesh Baruch Hu do? Ka'et yamel Yaakov. There'll be such a makifim, mapa al-kel, the malach says, what did the Kodesh Baruch Hu do? What was his kavanah? Will be at such a big madrega. When the makifim come in, so that precious, you can't even call it time because it'd be beyond time. Makifim come in. It's called ka'es. It's a es. It's a time. Because ultimately, beruchnius, here in this world, time is what the clock says, right? But beruchnius, there is no physical time. So beruchnius time is different level of makifim, different levels of seichel. As Rabbeinu before, this is kufas hayomim, kufas hashonim. It says in the Torah in Nevi'im, you eat kufas hayomim, you eat kufas hashonim. Kufas hayomim means there are makifin, kufas is makifin, hayomim, there are certain makifin which are of certain level, it's called days. And there are pchilas makifin that are called years. So today, we learn in Torah, Le'iloi Nishmas Yoel Bas Aryeh. What does it mean? Where she is, there is no time. So what are we doing today? Today's the Yotzei. Okay, what's it got to do with her? Well, what is it done for her? The thing is that today, she is gaining a new makif. She exists in the spiritual world. And her neshama gets a new makif. A new makif because she's growing. When we are quote unquote celebrating or whatever, we're remembering, we're doing things little nishmasa, this house the neshama gets the makifin in, but there's no time there. But it's an asaga, it's a makif, it is called a shana, a year. This is Yoim HaShana. It's a makif of a day, a makif of a year. So here, being that it's a physical world, we measure it in physical terms. The date is the date, that's the yahrzeit. In the Olam Sabyonim, in the spiritual world, this is a saga, a sechel, clean sechel, a saga which is called Shana. Because the Malchus gets a parnasa from the hands, as we explained, that's the reason why intrinsically within the achila, within the eating itself, is revealed the illumination of the makifim. The The Makifim are within the Chokhmah that the Chokhmah reveals. I want to take, a few minutes to talk a little bit about the time that we hold in Hashem. Today we fasted, Shabbat B'Tammuz. We're going to have 3 weeks till Tisha B'Av. And this is it's usually it's a time that people don't know what to do with. What are you going to do? Find new recipes, non-fleshed recipes, with fish and with this and that. What are you going to do? What is to do in 3 weeks? Okay, you have to be Saba Galus Shechina. Usually when people say Galus Shechina, what we say today, and me as well, is that we don't know what it is, right? We weren't around here when Mesa Mikdash existed, right? We have no idea what this Galus Shechina is. So usually what it is that we do, we talk about at least we know that we don't know. At least we feel that we don't feel, right? We have a tsar that we don't feel tsar, right? This is the usual sprach that we talk about it. But Rabbeinu here reveals that within the chokhmah, within the achila, within the malchus, within our metzias, there is an illumination of the oras harotzin, of the makifim. Being misal the Shechina, the way that we usually understand it, people, if they get up chatzos every night, they can this every day, every night, and big tzaddikim, big madregas, they can feel the pain of going to the Shechina, and they can cry for the Shechina. But we, what do I know? But that's not true. Within the Galus Shechina is something that we feel in our lives every single day. Where? What are you talking about? Everybody, every Jew feels a Jew is a Bechina Neshama. The Akum is Prinas Nefesh. The Jew is a Prinas Neshama. Everybody feels daily pain of loneliness, even physical pain. The Rebbe says any Yisurim that a person goes through, person should know that this is the Shechina revealing to him, her Yisurim. And a person should figure out how great am I in the eyes of Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Shechina is telling me her tsar, her sorrow. How's she telling me the tsar? With the tsar that I have, that maybe a child does not behave the way he or she should, and or a person has some physical disability or whatever, any kind of difficulty that a yid feels. There is a precursor to it. Like we said, the parnasa is a precursor of rotzing. Everything has a precursor of rotzing. Every single tsar that a yid feels every day has a precursor. It's not just it happens. Okay, it happened. That happens to Akum. That doesn't happen to a yid. For yid, there's a precursor because the Akum is Prinas Nefesh. Okay, that's what it is. The world is. How does one become, a baseball star? He comes to the gym before everybody else, and he stays after everybody else leaves. And it's like everything. He has his routine every single. That's his life. No problem there. But this emptiness, this loneliness, this fact that I have a hole inside my being, and I don't know what to do with. I can't even put my finger on it, let alone I know what to fill it with. That hunger, that tsar, has a precursor. And that precursor is Tsar Shechina. The Tsar Shechina. Like when you eat, you are able to detect the precursor, the rotzin, that comes, the raw material of the rotzin, it comes through Yam HaChacham and trickles the way down till it comes to actual food. And if you're Zoche, you eat the food, you're able to feel this rotzin, suddenly it comes alive. Because that rotzin is a fuel that comes into a machine, a yid, that can, when he eats properly, can feel tremendous return on Kodesh Baruch Hu. What it does is it reveals, it splits the atoms, and this energy of Ratzon is revealed. The same thing can happen to each and every Yid with the Indian of Golos Shechina. Sounds very nice, but what does it mean? How do you do it? The answer is you agree to feel the pain. You don't enjoy it. You'd rather not have it. You'd rather it went away. But you agree to feel it. Most people, me included, especially, pain comes, leave me alone. Everybody this way, I'll go down my head. Look at it, it's not something on. I'm not from here. Leave me alone. Don't look at me. No. Usually when people feel that pain, so their reaction is either to run away or they build a certain crust around them, a shield, that they don't feel. How can you tell? When somebody's abrupt, when somebody is cutting in his remarks, he's tips, angry, he's intimidating. Why is that? Because he has a shell. He has a shell that protects him not to feel. Everybody else thinks, he's a bulvan, he's a bully. But it's somebody who was more adin, was more sensitive, has a good eye to look, takes a look at him and says, that person is so much pain, he's not able to allow himself even to feel. Truth is that with each and every one, we have a little of both, right? Some running away, some, protecting, making shields, all kinds of, the main thing is just not to feel the pain. As the famous song goes, comfortably numb. That's what we want to be. In order to, because what happens is that separates us from the source of pain. And analgesic, it's a painkiller. It separates us from the source of pain. And okay, we live our lives. What do you want to talk about? What, Golos Shechina? Let me a favor. I have other problems before, right? Let me first of all daven via mensch. Let me learn Torah a little bit. And then I go to Shechina. Come on, be realistic. What are you talking about? I have my life. If you slow down, and it's very this is the tool to do it, and agree to feel the pain, knowing that through the pain you will connect to what? To the precursor, to the real reason of all your pain. You feel shaykhat if you connected to the precursor, which is Golos Shechina. That's the way. You have all the tools right in front of you. On the hand. Everybody has sorrows. Everybody has tar. Everybody's dealing with things that I have absolutely no idea what to do about. Through this, if you allow yourself to feel it, let the pain, feel it, let it stay, let it fill yourself up. And through this, you'll connect. You'll connect to the precursor, Tzara Shechina. The Rebbe says in the Service Appearance that a person should always daven to Yeshua should not come. I says once they came, a person should accept them with great simcha. Why? Because within the Yisurim, within the pain, there is something, the Rebbeinu says, is something which is sweeter than honey. Which is what? Is the person would never be able to sustain the pain. Because Baruch Hu puts himself inside the pain. If you're accepting the pain, if you're willing to feel it, don't run away from it. Because Baruch Hu reveal himself to you. The Shechina will reveal himself to you. You'll become connected. You'll be able to feel. It's painful, yes. What are you going to do? Live your life just running away from pain, watching baseball games. What are you going to do? Allow yourself. Allow yourself to feel. Get it in, let it in. And realize that pain is try to get to the precursor. This is the days. Because right now, the 3 weeks from Shivat HaBatamuz and Tisha B'Av, this is the entryway to all the Yom Tovim, to Elul, to Rosh Hashanah, to Tzitz Tshuva, to Yom Kippur, to Sukkot, to Simchas Torah, Shmini Atzeret. The whole thing begins now. You want to have this incredible Ha'ara in Rosh Hashanah and Elul and Tshuva and this and that, accept, feel, allow yourself to feel your pain. Not some kind of imaginary, I don't know, people are trying to give all kinds of, how Yidden was this and that, and then how many people happened to them, and this happened to them, and then the Holocaust, and, watch videos about the Holocaust, you'll be able to feel something. You don't need it. You have it in your own lives all the time. Because within your pain is already the precursor is Golus Shechina. If you only will allow yourself to feel. That's what these days is about. If you make it very good, especially if, anybody who's looking to make Tikkun Chatzos, it's very easy. It's very easy to feel it. But truth is that anybody can. You just have to agree. Baruch should help us without Hashem. That's how the Neshama of Mali. At Hashem, my newest grandson, Hashem, will have research, Brisa, Abu Mavino, with Hashem, Ito Bizmano, with Hashem, and with Hashem, we grow to Terechov, Masim Terim, with Hashem, Klal Yisrael. Have a great Shabbos, Mashas Pinchas. That's in itself, the whole Shir of Natsmai, Kinan Hora. So, should have good Shabbos, that Hashem will Zoche, soon the Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu, that Hashem will be Tikkun, and the Kinois will become Tikkun, as the Rebbe says. And we'll see the Zat Hashem, Bina Misamigdos, Vino, Zat Hashem.